Hi folks, welcome to today's iced tea. With John, it's too hot for coffee. 33 degrees the last time I was out the door here. I'm so thankful for air conditioning. But we are looking at these verses on not loving the world, John chapter 2, verses 15 to 17. And today is verse 16, so let me just read that to you. For everything in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life, comes not from the Father, but from the world. Now, when we're told not to love the things of the world, it doesn't mean that, I can't love, this is a thing, a drink. It doesn't mean that the money or any of the things that we have in this world, it doesn't mean that we're not to love them as things. It's our attitude to them that really counts. So Jesus put it this way, Mark 7:20, what comes out of a person is what defiles them. For it is from within, out of a person's heart, that evil thoughts come, sexual immorality, theft, murder, greed, malice, deceit, lewdness, envy, slander, arrogance, and folly. All these evils come from inside and defile a person. Now, we know the story of Adam and Eve. We know how they gave into temptation. And it really is these three things: the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life. So let's just go through each one of them. The lust of the flesh, that's everything within our appetites. Now, the appetites in and of themselves are not wrong. I'm thirsty, I drink. I'm hungry, I eat. God has given us sex for a good reason. There are so many things. It is God who is the giver of pleasure. It is the devil who is the perverter and the destroyer of it. As last night we were looking at Ecclesiastes 2 in the church, and that's what we were talking about. So, to have a drink, for me, I like a malt whiskey. To have a glass of malt whiskey is fine. To have half a bottle or a bottle would be ludicrous and ridiculous. To have a bacon sandwich is fine. To have 20 bacon sandwiches throughout the day would be ridiculous. And there are many other things. To use sex as a means of just satisfaction, to see sex as just as an appetite, that's just so wrong. Then he mentions the second thing here. Look at what he says. He says the lust of the eyes, because the eyes are really the chief bridge between the world and what's inside us. And that is particularly true, by the way, I think, in our culture because of the way our culture is going and because of the technology and so on. I sit in a room here. Nobody would ever know if I put pornography on, for example. Now, I don't. And like Job, I've made a covenant with my eyes. And in that regard, the same way. I mean, I like going down to the swimming pool and so on. But sometimes, a woman will come towards me who's very skimpily dressed and very attractive. And I avert my eyes because it just wouldn't be right to look and to lust, really. And that's what it says here. And it's not just in those things. There are so many things. In the Sunday Catechism yesterday we did, you'll get this on YouTube as well, we were looking at the question of coveting. So we need to be really careful with all of that. And then the third thing he speaks of here is the pride of life, which is that God gives us all things to enjoy, but we sometimes become so proud we think that we've got them or that we deserve them. I mentioned you accept that going out and getting drunk is probably wrong. You accept that watching pornography is probably wrong. But what about just the pride of life? Do we see that that's wrong? The pretentiousness that comes from human life. It's no way for us to live. I think it is David Jackman again who says this: we should be asking not what's wrong with it, but actually what's right with it, which I think is a really good way of putting it. Now, you see, this is not to limit Christians to the extent of, what a bunch of miserable so-and-sos. But it's to free us to enjoy God's gifts in the way that God intends. And therefore, if you love the world, in the sense of the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life, that doesn't come from God the Father, that comes from the world. And it's so destructive. I wish we could see that. I wish our world could see that. Well, God bless you and see you again tomorrow. Bye.